In my last two videos, I've shared about the father wound. And of course, as many of you know, I was not raised by my father. I came to know him when I was in class 4, just briefly, before now later, when I knew him when I was in high school. So of course that affected me. And today I've talked about the father wound and how it manifests. And today I want to talk about how then do you deal with the father wound. Because it's important that even as we're learning what the father wound is, what the mother wound is, it's important that we close it up by, knowing how to heal. And I hope that even as I'm sharing all these tips, you're not just listening to them and then leaving it there. Number one is I'd like for you to self-introspect your own life, understand if there are any wounds that you may need to deal, and then just start applying all the tips that I've shared here. So thank you so much. Share with someone else also who may need this information. And of course, today I want to talk about how then do you heal the father wound. Number one always has to be you acknowledging your own emotions. Yeah. And this may be difficult because you're not used to acknowledging your own emotions, so it may be really difficult. Or even some men who feel like men don't have emotions. We're all emotional beings and all of us have emotions. Yeah. So today let me burst your bubbles. So acknowledge your own emotions. How did you feel? Did you feel let down? Did you feel disappointed? Did you feel angry? Did you feel resentful? Address your own emotions and how you feel, because so many of us go carrying emotions, difficult emotions that end up hurting us. Yeah. So find someone who you can discuss the father wound with. Always find a person that feels safe, that you can talk with. And I know most men, sometimes when you go and share things that are emotional, it's very easy for other men to just dismiss you. So just find a safe place that you can share. Number two is it's important to seek therapy. Always seek therapy for emotional wounds, because at the end of the day, a therapist knows how to support you through every emotion, how to validate you where you didn't feel validated, to help you humanize your parents and forgive them. Yeah. And then and seeking therapy means that you will also get to understand how that is affecting you in a more real manner, because then you will be able to share your story, your personalized story, in a very safe place. Okay. And then the other one I would say is number 3, is to find the right environment for healing. Like I always say, if you find the right environment, healing becomes very easy. Well, not really easy, but it becomes better. The process becomes better. All right. Find the right environment, the kind of people you surround yourself with, the kind of people who validate you, the kind of people who make you feel like you are accepted the way you are, and they're helping you to build on what you want to build. All right. And then the other point, which is number 4, is learn to affirm yourself, learn to validate your own feelings. Stop dismissing your feelings. I remember there was a time I was there's a friend of mine I know who was walking in town, and they just walked and hit something, and they had to pretend they were not even seeing and they were not hit. Yet they even had a cut. You understand what I mean? So learn to validate your own feelings, what you feel on a day-to-day basis, saying that this is how I feel, but this is how I'm going to process. One of the things I always tell people is that I've done this journey for so long that sometimes I know what to do when I'm angry. I know what to do when I'm feeling sad and low. I know what to do when I feel disappointed, because we are humans. All these feelings will always come. The whole point is not for us to get rid of these feelings. Unfortunate events happen. We lose people, we lose jobs, we lose opportunities. We will feel these things. The whole point is to learn to process the negative feelings in a positive manner, right? In a positive way. Because at the end of the day, the negative feelings will always come from whichever place, whether from our kids, from our families, from our friends, from life, unfortunate events. It will always come. But how then do we deal with them in a healthy manner? All right. And then the other point, which is number 5, is mirror a good father to your kids. And even for the mother would mirror a good mother to your kids. It may be hard, and that's why you will need therapy, and that's why you will need to affirm yourself, to validate yourself. But just mirror a good father, affirm your kids. Okay? So whether you're a mother or a father, learn to give to your children that which you were not given. All right? And because sometimes that is how you also heal. You start exercising and feeling you're in control. You start feeling good about yourself because you start believing that you can be a good mother or a good father. All right. And then the other one is grieve the loss of your father. You see, your father may even be alive. However, grieving the fact that they were not in your life when you were a child, when you needed them the most, will help you to release those feelings. Those feelings of hopelessness or of being a child who was helpless, because then you kind of help your inner child to grieve and to let it go. All right, because when you grieve, then you learn to let it go. All right. So the other one is take the wound to God in prayer. One of the things that I will never insist enough is to pray. always pray to God and tell God to fix your heart, because there are things that were done to us by our parents that sometimes may feel like they're permanent damages, but learn to take it to God in prayer. I love to pray because there are wounds inside of me that were only fixed when I started praying. God knows where it hurts the most. You can tell him to heal you. There are things that God even knows about you that you don't know about yourself. So for me, prayer has to be part of the recipe and everything that we're doing. Yeah. The other point I want to share is forgive. Forgiveness has to come. Oh my goodness. And I know forgiveness is a journey, like I said in my previous motherhood video. Forgiveness is a journey, and that's why you must learn. So for you to even get there, journal. Let your thoughts, if you don't find people you can tell everything that you feel, learn to write them down. Write your feelings down. You will feel much better. You will feel much lighter. Learn to journal, and then write letters. I have several letters. I have a letter I wrote to my mother, at my age, and then I have a letter I wrote as a 14-year-old to my mother when I was coming to live with her. So I had to imagine as me as a 14-year-old and writing. That is one of the things that my therapist told me to do. And I cried through that letter, my goodness, but it was so life-changing for me, okay? Learn to write letters. Dear mother, I hope that you're doing well. I wanted to tell you that the way that you handled me when I was a child was not good. This is how it made me feel, but today I choose to forgive you. Just write the letters the way that you feel it flows. There's no right or wrong way to do a letter to your parents, okay? And then there's also, when you're talking about forgiveness, you're also talking about boundaries. Unfortunately, let me tell you something. Unfortunately, even after you heal, you will realize that just because you are healed doesn't mean that your parents automatically have also healed. So you have to find ways to have boundaries with your parents, with your mother, with your father. Why? Because then you can do what feels comfortable for you. Yeah? You can do what is okay for you. Only do that which you are 100% sure in your heart, and you're giving out of a good heart, and you're doing out of a good place. Okay? So work towards, being okay with, just forgiving them. But at the same time, draw boundaries. If you realize that you have a toxic father, if you realize that you have a toxic mother, learn to draw the boundaries. Even if it feels bad, because you're not used to drawing boundaries, especially with our parents. In the African culture, it feels like a taboo, but you must learn to draw boundaries. And the reason why we have boundaries is to avoid further damage coming down to you. All right? To avoid further damage coming down to you. And then the other one is you can literally choose to have a healthy father figure. I know there are people who go to church and they seek other people to be their father. I know there are people who, find their father's friend who had who is a very good father, and now they start calling them father, and then they walk with them, and they learn to share their challenges with them, and they walk with them literally. They give you that father experience that you never had. So that's still okay, because when you're a grown-up, at least you can choose. You can choose to have someone walk with you, and that will help you heal as well on your healing journey. All right? So thank you so much for staying with me. That is it that I wanted to share about how to heal the father wound. And next week I want to talk about barriers to dealing with your mother and your father wound. Are there barriers? Yes, there is barriers. You can be trying to heal, but then there could be barriers. Catch me next week as I talk about the barriers to healing your father and your mother wound. So the whole point, even as we're learning all this, is for us to be able to heal, for us to be able to deal, for us to be able to overcome, because that is the main reason why we're doing this. Challenges are there to be overcome. All right, God bless you, and see you soon next week as we talk about the barriers to our healing. All right, thank you, bye.